Hey, welcome to Storytime with Ellie podcast, and I am Ellie. Today's guest, we have Emilio Roman. Emilio is the CEO of a co-author network, a veteran-owned and operated publishing company in New Jersey. He has helped over 250 aspiring writers from around the world become published authors. Amelia broke a Guinness World Record for one of the most authors signing a book simultaneously in Toronto, Canada. Amelia's Author Millionaire Academy provides a community for authors to network and support each other thoroughly, weekly of calls and events. He is commitment, empowering writer, transforming the publishing industry, an event through his work at Co-Author Network AMA. And there is just so much to say about Emilio. And let's welcome Emilio, our special guest. Yay!
Hey.
Hey, thank you. Thank you, Ellie, and thank you, Phil. You got me jamming. You got me
Yes.
moving over here with that intro.
Yes, and there's so many facets to you. You have so many things going on in your life that it's like, wow. We love you and thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today on this podcast. And let's start. Let's start with tell us your story. How did you get
Yes.
into this book writing?
Yeah,
Author.
well, Ellie, I appreciate again. I appreciate your time and the invitation. I would like to start where how did we meet? How about that? Do you
I
remember
love
when
it.
we first met?
I do remember that. It was just amazing. It was an amazing event that we met at. Underdog Millionaire.
Yes.
Ooh, hold
Yes.
on. You got to explain to me what that is because it sounds really, really cool.
It is very cool.
What is that?
Yeah, very, very cool. Let's come on.
Emilio,
Obama.
Emilio,
Plug
what is
for
that?
Obama. We should have Obama
Yeah,
explain.
so awesome, man. So what's going on, Phil, is I go to a lot of events, and I'm sure you've all been to events. So this event particularly was right in your backyard, right there in Orlando, and it was run by Dr. Obama Boeing. He was a United States Marine Corps veteran who's also a mentor of mine. He put this event on, and it's really for people who want to level up their business. So if you have a chance, connect with him, and that's where I met Ellie. Guess
Yeah.
what? He called Ellie up on stage, and she was sashaying up there, and that's when I got to get to know her.
I was scared.
So Phil, that's
I wasn't expecting that. And then I was like, oh my God. Yeah, it was great. It was a great event, a great weekend. I learned a lot and I met fantastic people
yeah,
through that event. And
yeah.
and Emilio was one of them and his family, his wife, great people. Yeah, great, great.
Yeah, and Ellie, and just what to add to to finish to answer your question in full. I appreciate it. So that's when I met you. I was like, oh my god. So we reached out once or twice, and then I knew that you were doing major things out in the Florida area, and then we just recently connected a few months ago with certain projects that we have going on. But I just love supporting folks in their dreams to write books because of really the circumstances that have happened in my life, and what they are, and wherever direction you want to go with this, Ellie.
Um, well, that's what I want to talk about. I want you to just tell us your story on how you Uh, let's go. Can we go back? Can we go back even before you got into writing, becoming an author, and doing all this? Can we go back to how you
Yes.
started, or what was your
Yeah.
pivoting point
Yeah.
to do
Yeah.
this?
Amen. Amen,
Right.
Ellie. Yeah. You and Phil gonna make me cry. So
All right. Well, that's
Well, it's
okay.
okay. I got some music for you.
Wait, wait, I don't have
Here you
music.
go. Here you go. If you want to tell us your story here.
Yeah, he's got a great story.
Go ahead. No,
Beautiful.
go ahead. Sorry.
I love it.
it is story time with Ellie. So right,
Yeah,
let's just go with it.
we want to hear
No,
it. We
this is
want to hear it.
wonderful. So I'm for those of you who don't know, I'm a United States Marine Corps veteran, and I'm out of New Jersey. So I entered the Marine Corps late in life. Most people go in when they're 18, 17. I had the grand idea of doing it when I was in my late 20s, right?
That's okay.
So went into the Marine Corps. It was a love-hate relationship. But anyway, needless to say, had some situations when ended up on the president of the United States desk. I had gotten attacked in Kuwait,
Oh
but this
wow.
was long after the original Kuwaiti incident happened, right? This was when it's supposed to be more peacetime. So I was there, and something happened there where I got attacked, and
Oh
that
my
created a
goodness.
bunch of emotions and situations for me, and it evoked a lot of challenges that I had growing up. So did you guys hear that part so far?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
Tell us more.
Okay, right.
Love it.
So thank you. So then what I did was after that, I just had trouble after service getting a job and keeping a job. Now, I've always loved health and fitness. I ended up going to college, and I tell people, and this is where the irony is, right? I had a speech impediment when I was a kid. I got left back in first grade. So I never felt comfortable. I never felt in classroom settings, right? Because I had this mindset, like, these insecurities, if you will. And so today, when you look at my story, I have to really explain this. I have to paint this picture because while I'm in the Guinness Book World Records today for being one of the most authors signing a book, it took me 20
Yeah.
years to finish a 2-year degree. Anybody out there? Is anyone out there?
But you finished it, and that's the main point. You came through, right? Doesn't matter
Amen.
how, as
Amen.
long as we get over that finish line, we don't care how long it
Mm.
takes us, as long as we make it.
Amen. Amen, Ellie. And I
Yeah.
appreciate that. Right.
Yes.
So I had all these things, and then I've had support, right? And this is where, having coaches, mentors, people that you can confide in, right? People that are like-minded. So after doing that, I had a book idea called 101 Ways to Thank a Veteran. And Ellie and Phil, this was little acts of kindness that people did for me as a veteran. For example, when I was at an airport, got talking to a gentleman, he saw that I had a military hat on, and just before we boarded, he gave me his first class ticket. Can you
Oh,
imagine?
wow, that is
Can,
beautiful
can-
story.
can you imagine, Ellie? Now,
Oh,
Ellie, I respectfully declined, but he insisted. And that act of kindness there really did something for
yeah.
me. And then
Hmm.
I went ahead and I just highlight in the book how many, little acts of kindness that people did for me. Right.
Beautiful.
Does that make sense, Ellie? And if you don't
Yes.
mind,
I didn't think
I like to share my inadequacies. I'll let you, if you let me do that.
I want you to talk. I'm amazed,
Okay.
and you have a
Yeah.
lot to say, and
No,
that's
no,
why we're
thank you.
here.
And so, Ellie, like you, story time with Ellie and Phil, do we agree that we all have a story to tell? Do we agree?
Yes.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen, right?
Amen. Yes,
Right.
absolutely. That's why we're
Thank you.
here.
So now during all of this stuff, while I was moving forward, I still had these little voices saying, you're not good enough. Who do you think you are writing a book? Man, you got left back in first grade because you didn't know how to read. So all of these stories that we tell ourselves. So fast forward, I had written this book. It was already in my computer, Ellie, for 5
Wow.
years. I had it for 5 years. And one day I was watching through Facebook and I kept seeing everyone talking about, oh, my book went bestseller, my book this. And I was like, I didn't want to be jealous because that's not my nature, but I was starting to feel some kind of way. Does that make
Exactly.
sense?
Yes, you start feeling a little bit like, well, if they can do it, why can't
Yeah,
I? And it
yeah,
gives you that push and it gives you encouragement to say, I don't mean to, who are they? I mean, they're doing it. I can do it. And that's what we need is that encouragement. And you got it. Yeah, let's go.
yeah.
Let's hear some
Amen.
more.
Yeah. So Ellie, so that's what I was feeling. And really the word is resentment. I was feeling resentful. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, who the hell wants to feel that? Right. I want to be a cheerleader for people. So fast forward, I made that commitment. I don't want to say decision. I made a commitment because life changes and it changed for me the moment I made the commitment. Not a second sooner or anything. I made the commitment that I don't know how, Ellie, but within 24 hours, I was going to get that book out of that damn computer and into my hands. And I'm getting goosebumps as I'm saying this because
Yeah.
it took me right back there. You know what I mean? It took me there. And I went to Staples. The download came, go to Staples. I went to Staples.
Mm.
She said to me, oh, just send us the file. She gave me like an email and she goes, come pick up your book in 2 hours. I was like, are you kidding me? I was
Wow.
like,
I didn't
here
know you could
I
even do
had this,
that.
I had this book. And is that mind blowing?
Yes, totally. I never knew that even existed.
Yes. So what it was, Ellie, was when as a business professional, and Phil, you can speak to this as well. you know, when you have like a business meeting and everyone passes the book around, like a little, like a binder, a ring binder.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. So I went ahead and I did, like, I had her make 7 of them. And I took that ring binder, which had, it was the original book version. And then when I got home within a couple of days, I sent out, and this is the point of this. I took that, sent one of them out to a friend of mine in the committee who they're in Camden, New Jersey. And I sent it out to him. And in 90 days or less, I ended up with a letter saying, you're going to be honored at City Hall with other participants for your work with veterans and your book. Can you imagine that?
Wow. Wow, that is just amazing to have that. I want to ask you, I don't want to cut into you, but I am. What made you do this? I mean, you had that. Where did you get the inner strength from? And I think you know where I'm going with this.
Yeah. Well, you know, Ellie, and I'm sure that people, the audience can understand. You know, there comes a point where if you live long enough, right? You've gone through some things, you've gone through struggles, you've gone through challenges, you know. And so for me, my faith has been something that
Okay.
I've leaned on. I've turned my back on it many times, but my faith has been something that I've leaned on. So whatever that is for individuals, you know, but that really
Exactly.
is
But you
what
have to
kept
have
me.
it.
Mhm.
You have to have something. There's got to be that turning point, and that's inner strength that we get, and where it comes from, and you know, everyone has their own story on how they get that, but you need to get to that point to be able to push off and move ahead, and you did, and that's, you know, I wanted you to
Emilio, can I ask you a question?
kind of
Yeah, brother.
put that in there.
So you said you had a speech impediment when you were younger. So did I. I had a really bad stutter, and I used to get picked on and a lot, and I had to do public speaking. And you know, we're not here about my story, but I want to know about what was the turning point for you where you realized, hey, my speech impediment is over, but now I have the confidence to, I guess, talk to people, because that was like a big issue for me, was talking to people, because
Yes. Yeah.
I was always self-conscious about, you know, I know what I want to say, but I can't get it out.
Yes. Yeah. Wow. You know what, Phil? Thank you for that question. I'll tell you what, people can still see that gago. In Spanish, the word is gago for someone who stutters,
Mm.
right? So when I was growing up, people picked on me. My friends, they were like, because I would start something and then I would just get, you know, I couldn't finish it. It's almost like if I was drowning, somebody would say, come on, man, spit it out, you know,
Yeah.
because I was stuck. So what I've learned, Phil, is honestly, it's just, I just kept moving forward. I honestly, with praising God, and I know that may, for some people that'll be like, what? But I just knew that I wanted something more out of life, and that I knew that I had to communicate my message better. So does that make sense?
Yep.
Yes.
Because I knew I wasn't good at math, right? I knew I wasn't good at the reading. We've already established that, right? So I said, you know what? I got to get better at this thing called communication.
And
And
you did.
so I taught myself how to read the newspaper, because I was tired of being picked on for not only my inability to read, but because of my ability to communicate what I couldn't and sometimes could read. So does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense, and that's was great. That's why I'm glad you came on to this podcast. It's for inspiration, to inspire others, that even if you have, like I say, a speech impediment or whatever, you could still do it. You can still do it. Push through it, and don't use that as an excuse why you can't. And Phil, yourself as well, right? I mean,
Yeah, good
when I
job,
first
Phil.
met Phil, and that's the first thing he said to me. And I'm like, wow, okay. And look at him today. And you were on radio for 20 years and a lot. So this has something to say for like the strength and the turnaround. And I think it's
Yeah.
a great thing. Great.
You know what?
Yeah.
If you don't mind, this is awesome, because
Yeah.
in life, what many of us discover, right, Phil, that our struggles become our strength. And if we're
Yeah.
honest with,
Mhm.
with ourselves today, anybody who's got a strength today, whether it be communication, acting, they can all go back and realize, you know what, that wasn't my strong suit. In fact, that was the weakest thing in my life.
Do you think that helped you with the military after you kind of went through that as a child?
I was going to ask that. Yeah.
Yeah, so definitely. Now, Phil, is the question you're saying that it helped me with the military in regards to what again?
Your confidence.
Yeah. Well, now remember, Phil, thank you for that. So the military, I went in at a late age, right? So I went in my 20s, right? So I had already established my beliefs and values. And so because I had that confidence, and even the recruiters try to tell me, hey, you do know you're 26. You do know you're going to be
Oh,
competing with other people. I said, I'm good. I said, I'm up for it.
so
But
that
yeah,
pushed
so
you. Yeah.
not only did that help me because I started to have experiencing some wins in my life, if you will, right? And then the military brought out more of it. Here's the deal, Phil. The military will reveal you for who you are. Like fears, anything you're scared of. Like I was scared of heights, and the
Mhm.
military revealed that.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
So what was your biggest takeaway from being in the military? Do you like what biggest attribute do you think you gained from being in the military? That's a better
Yeah,
question.
awesome. You know what? That's an awesome question. I can tell you, without a doubt, how to handle disappointments a lot better. Because the military is all about hurry up and wait, right? You hurry up, you get to a location, and then nothing goes as planned, right? So you get to understand that's real life, right? That we prepare, we plan for a mission, and all of a sudden you have to learn how to navigate, right? Situation will dictate your next move, not
Ye-
what you originally intended. Great question, Phil.
I gotta this now. This question is a deeper question here, right?
Sure.
Before we start, can you hold your book up to the camera again? I want people to see it.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, this book here.
All right. It's called 101 Ways to Thank a Veteran.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Is it available on Amazon or no, like one of
Yeah.
the outlets you
Yeah.
can get it on?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. Folks can definitely get it there. And if you don't mind, Phil, since you brought it up, this is really emotional now. So please forgive me. Can I read the back of the book here, Phil?
Please do, because I wanted to ask you about that stuff in a minute. So you're probably already leading there. So go ahead.
Yeah. So the people can get it in perspective, and I thank you for that question. So today, 22 veterans will take their own lives. Will you take 22 seconds to read how this book can help you help them? Question. 101 Ways to Thank a Veteran is a story of how a disabled U.S. Marine veteran survived the trials and tribulations of life after service. From fighting substance abuse to battling depression with the help of little acts of kindness from complete strangers. Books change people, and people change the world. Pick up this book today and discover what a world of a difference you too can make in the life of a veteran. And then the last part, Phil, if I can read that.
Yeah, go
Emilio
for it.
Roman is a disabled Gulf War era veteran. Today, under favorable health conditions, Emilio serves as a veteran ambassador. He's passionate about providing direction to veterans who do not know where to begin the process for VA medical, educational, dependent, and survivor benefits. His specialized knowledge stems from his personal journey of navigating the Veterans Administration's complex, confusing, and at times mismanagement of veteran resources. Thank you for letting me read
Great.
that.
A great, great book. Emilio, I have a quick question. Why can't they get the help once they leave the military?
Yeah, yeah, and that's a really loaded question, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Okay, I want you to shoot.
yeah, no, and here it is for me. And again, my opinion, and it's a hot topic, and so I believe that everything rises or falls on leadership, right? Can we agree on that?
Yes.
Leadership, right? It takes leadership. And so what has happened throughout the years, the VA has gone through different leaderships, whether it's Republican Party, without getting into any of that, but who is in power dictates the outcome, right? And so the best definition I've ever heard of politics, when I took a class in college, they said, what's the best definition? Well, they said, what's the definition of politics? Everybody was trying to give all this great stuff. And the answer was, who decides who gets what and when, right? So whatever party is in, their agenda is going to be top of the ladder. And while they know better to mess with better benefits, the benefits and the money that gets allocated, if veterans, this is important. So Phil, thank you for asking this question. Okay, and Ellie, if veterans do not use the benefits that's allocated for them, guess what? They take it away.
Oh, wow.
So thank you so much for bringing that question up.
Wait, hold up.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Hold up.
Yeah, go back on that. Go back on
you
that.
You just said, why does that even exist? That if you don't use it, they take it away.
That's crazy.
Do you know why? That sounds ridiculous. What happened? What's up with that?
Yeah, well, yeah, great question. So think about this for a minute, Phil, right? You've got everybody lobbying. The whole point of everybody lobbying is somebody's lobbying for this industry, for that industry. So Washington, that's why we send representative. People want more money for gun control. Teachers want money for school and safety. And then the veterans, right? If people are not advocate for our veterans, they say, well, we gave last budget, we gave blank money for disabled veterans, they did not use it. So, but because the veterans, they didn't do a good job of communicating the benefit to the veterans, doesn't mean the veterans don't need it, just the messaging was not communicated.
Wow. That is crazy. But I have a couple more questions I'd love to
thank you.
ask you, Emilio.
We're going to go deep with that.
Yeah,
go for it.
Also, can you expand a little bit when you said about 22 suicides a day?
Yes.
Can you explain that a little?
Yeah. So these are numbers from the Department of Veterans Affairs. These are numbers. These are my numbers, right? These are numbers, data that research groups have pulled. And full disclosure, there's organizations, again, because of their agenda, they will say, no, that's not true, right? So that number, the 22, there's a lot of nonprofits now have started. Even if you go on Facebook, you'll see people doing 22 push-ups to honor veterans, right? And so these are veterans coming back from different wars, right? But mainly we know the Iraqi war, we know the Vietnam War. There's veterans that I see and talk to in the hospitals, and they don't talk about it. Can you imagine this? When now, when the veterans got back from Vietnam, they were spit on, Ellie. They were spit on. The veterans now coming back from wars, they have parades for them, right?
Yeah.
So here's something that's in my book, Ellie. If you see a Vietnam veteran and Phil, don't say to them, don't say to them, I'll be honest with you, thank you for your service. Many of them don't feel worthy of their service. So instead you say to them,
say that all the time. And that is like the first thing people say. Thank you for your service. We always say that.
Yeah. So say to them, welcome home. Okay. Welcome home. That's important to say to Vietnam veterans because many of them don't feel the welcome when they came back home from fighting. It could be a grandpa. It could be, and those numbers are still high.
Wow. So, and why? Why though?
Yeah. Well, because of the trauma, imagine, in fact, you ready for this? I'm doing a recording song it's called Voices of Valor. Not because I have this great voice, right? Not because I have a great voice, but it's because it helps veterans with trauma, PTSD, and those sort of things. And I have with my group a beautiful lady. She is, ready for this? She is an Army veteran, and she went in to serve her country when she was 17 at the time, right? She had to get a signature from mom or whatever that was. Wow. And she was explaining, and now she's like, oh my gosh, she's up there, right? Wow. And she was explaining the horrors of Vietnam.
So, also, I'm thinking about any help for is there any programs that they can get into to help?
Because there's so many.
Suggest? Yeah.
So you know what? You both are asking the best questions, but to help you and help the listeners understand, if you know a veteran, let them know that there's help, right? Again, what happens? There's a lot of organizations, but it's all about getting the information to the veterans that are homeless. And here's the deal. Most veterans don't want to talk about it, right? Yeah, so think about it. So it's really hard to gauge, Ellie and Phil, when you're talking about trauma. People have gotten raped, molested. There's so much of that human factor and condition that people don't want to talk about. It's like, hey, I was raped, or hey, no. So that's what makes it more difficult.
Wow. Thank you for opening up to us and explaining this, because I've never, heard this before, and I don't think they talk about it. You're right.
Yeah, I've always said thank you for your service too.
Yeah, I did too. Every time you look at them, that's what we say. Thank you for your service. Now I know. Welcome home. We'll say welcome home.
Wow. So
Yeah.
your book
Okay.
is 101 ways, right, to thank a veteran.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you have any? I don't want to give away your whole book, but what's a way that you can recommend besides saying welcome home? You have any
Yeah.
more tips?
Listen, I'll give you as many as you want. It's a book that I actually when I have them on hand, I give them away. So right now I ran out of stock because I actually give the book away because they support two of projects that I do, Phil. But I'm gonna let you know. So one of them is what you already see all the time, right? Welcome home. Thank you for your service. They're great, and
Yeah.
I list that. What you can do is if you're at a table at a diner and you're at a restaurant and you happen to know that the veteran, you'll know us veterans. In fact, I have my we call them covers. I wear mine all the time. You can tell veteran, right? You can
Uh-huh.
always tell when they have their hats on. If you have the opportunity to buy their, pay for their meal, that's another way I have on there. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Yes.
Mhm.
Or
Yeah.
right, so that's one. It doesn't have to be their meal. If you're at a coffee place, you're at a Dunkin' Donuts or anything, and you see someone who you know clearly is a veteran, what I've done is I go uh, and I'll tell the person, listen, I want to take care of that person's meal, this veteran's meal. So you already, those are a lot of things that you can do. Do you like those?
I do. Those are good. Those are good methods.
Yeah.
So
Beautiful.
how long were you actually in the Marines? How long were you in the Marines?
Sure. Great question. So I was in for 4 years. 4 years was called active duty. What a lot of people don't know, Phil, and now you know, and
I know.
Ellie, when you sign the contract to join, while it says 4 years, you actually have 4 more years of what's called inactive duty. So,
Wait,
like
what?
if war breaks
Yeah.
out,
So you're in there
yep,
for a while. Ah, you Uncle Sam owns your own
yeah,
one. Ah, wow, interesting. And I love it. Love it. Great story.
yeah,
Love
yeah.
it.
Thank you guys for asking. And so there's a lot
Yeah,
of things that we can do in this book. Again, just thank you for that, taking me down that road. I
little.
appreciate it.
Yeah, and actually, thank you for opening up to us and answering our questions. Appreciate it. But we're gonna fast forward to today, and all what you're doing today with the co-author of the MA. It's the MAA.
AMA, right?
Yeah, well, we call it ama, right? Ama. So we
Okay.
say, yep, ama, because ama means love in Spanish.
Ah, okay, we're learning some Spanish, Phil.
All right.
Love it. Ooh.
Let's see that banner behind you,
Yeah,
though.
yeah, yeah.
Read us the mission that you got there.
Sure, sure. So AMA, the Author Millionaire Academy, the mission is to produce the highest income earning authors in the world. That's the mission. And then we take it a step further. The vision is one mission, one movement, $1 million. And then what you see below there is a picture of me holding the Guinness World Record over my head in Canada.
Wow.
Now explain that. I know
Yeah.
Ellie went into it just briefly, but go into what that is. How'd you even how'd you even contact Guinness? Because Guinness is a beer company anyway, if you didn't know. But explain how you even went through the process of getting the world record, or how you even acknowledged, please, because that's very
Yeah,
interesting.
no, thank you. It's a great question. I get that all the time, Phil. So what we've done is there was other people involved in this project, right? So while I was there, I was one of others who did the same thing. We all signed a book simultaneously. It's a process, as you know, it's not easy to do, right? But at the end of the day, this is the actual certificate. You see it right here.
I
I'm
see it.
holding it right here,
Uh-oh.
right? And so we all met in Canada and we had to meet the regulations. And so I, along with some others, we went ahead and we had to meet the criteria of signing books at the same time, if
But
that
how
makes
did you
sense.
coordinate that? Like, what'd you do? Send a message on Facebook? Hey,
Yeah.
we're doing this.
It's
Yeah,
like, oh my God.
yeah,
How'd you
no. So here's the deal. So a gentleman named Robert Moore out of Canada, he is the one that originally holds that record, right? So he looked at it, and so there's a whole process. There's a whole process that went through, and he only invited people that he knew were in the space of being, an author, right? So you don't want to invite somebody who's not an author. Does that
Gotcha.
make sense?
Absolutely. Yes, yes. Um,
Yeah.
well,
And by the
so
way, we're gonna do one here in the U.S. So let's stay connected, Phil and Ellie.
Come to the studio and do it.
Beautiful. Yeah. We want you in here. Ah.
Yeah, we're working on it. Yeah, we're gonna
All
work
right.
on it.
Oh, this is great stuff. But explain to our listeners, explain to Phil and I what your mission is with this program. What do you do? How do you get people in there? Explain everything. Like right now, I want to write a book. We want to write books. Explain to us your story.
Process.
Yeah, the process.
Yeah.
What we need to do.
So you know what? So let's go like this, Phil. Do you have do you have anything there that you can hold up? And let's just assume that what you're holding, show it to me if you can. And let's just say it is your book. There you go. So that's your Snapple book, and that's your planner book. But now that is your book.
Okay.
Now, did you know that if this book was done, like you went through all the mental process, you put all your money out, here is the fact: you will only sell 150 to 250 copies for the lifetime of the book. Does that get you excited?
Oh, wow.
No, not really.
No, but it's good information.
Right. So what happened was people go ahead and they think that the end all be all, Phil and Ellie, is that they get their book, right? They literally put the house, they mortgage their home. And I've heard the stories, and all of a sudden they got their book and they're like, why isn't my book selling? Right? Because they didn't understand that you should be selling your book before you even write one word. Oh, you getting me fired up. Do you really want to know? I'm getting excited here.
Yes.
So this is what I want you to do. Anybody watching, I want you to sell it before you create it. Let me hear your two beautiful souls say that.
I want to sell it before
we create it.
There you go.
Yay!
There you go. So this is what you're doing, right? So what you do is, instead of going ahead and spend, I had a lady and I felt bad for her. She spent $25K for a company to do her book. She took loans. She did everything. And then she didn't even, my God, she really got nothing, right? She ended up with a book that we produced for a fraction of it, okay? So what you do is, you're going to love this, Phil. You're going to thank me later, all of you watching this. Mm-hmm. Get really clear on the book cover. Stephen Covey said, begin with the end in mind. Now, this is gold. I never really teach this out here publicly because this is what people pay good money for. But because you guys, this is awesome. Because of you allow me to come on, I'm going to share one of our intellectual properties. So what you do is you go ahead, you get clear on this. So for example, here's a book called Born to Risk, 101 Stories of Survival, Emilio Roman, Guinness World Record. So whatever that is for you, Phil, and whatever that is for you, Ellie, get your book done. Now, Phil and Ellie, can you read this?
I need my glasses, but I don't see anything.
Yes, I know. When he showed me that when we spoke in the past. I'm like,
So Phil,
I thought it was like Braille.
Isn't this awesome, Phil? So now, Phil and Ellie, what you're going to do is now you're going to get this thing called a mock book, and now you're going to come on Ellie's show like I am, or all these beautiful shows, and you're going to get on different shows and let people know that there's a forthcoming book, right? And now you're going to get more sales than the person. Ready for this? Do you remember what the average? You remember what the average?
What is that? 125 to 200, something like that.
Yeah, 150. What was it, Ellie?
124, 125.
150, right?
Watch it, 150 to 250.
I was reading
for the lifetime of the book. So I've got authors that they sell. Hey, Phil, you're going to love this. There's people who sell more books in pre-sale than most folks sell once the book has delivered. Does that make sense?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Now I have another quick question. Could any author do this? I mean, how would they use this process if an author wants to write a book, or how would they contact you? And
if I wanted to write short stories, is that fine, or is it only for certain genres of authors?
No, listen, right now, AI, have you heard of AI, the artificial intelligence?
Yes.
That has turned the publishing world on its head. People are going ahead and publishing books in the shortest time ever. But I don't want to send people to AI over there. But what I want to say
I was wondering about that G-bot. What's that thing that we're talking?
ChatGPT.
What is it? ChatGPT. Yeah. I mean, people are going to be writing their books on that, right? I mean, it's terrible.
Yeah. Can you all see this?
Yes.
This is called an energy stick.
I need
Okay.
that today. I needed that energy
So watch
stick.
this. So ready for this? So when I touch it,
Whoa.
when I take it off,
Oh,
it stops. And this here, Ellie, ready for this?
I needed that today.
I do this at all my events. I take people around and we all are connected. The minute one person takes it off, it stops the circuit.
So you have everyone grabbing your energy stick.
Yeah, you go. I knew you were gonna go there. Huh?
I don't know. My mind's always in the. I don't know. My mind is bad. I'm sorry.
So I need you, Ellie. Ellie, I need you. You need me, Phil. I need you. You need me. We all need each other. Does
Yes,
that make
we
sense?
do. Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So,
I could have used that energy stick this morning. I would have been more. Love it.
So while we can use all this artificial intelligence stuff and all, they're great. They're a tool, right? It's never going to replace this interaction. It's never going to replace the information that you and I can exchange in the emotion. That's why if you're looking to write a book, right? Honestly, I know you're going to have my contact put on screen. People can reach out to me.
Yes,
and
yeah.
we help you.
I need your help. I need your help with my book. I do.
Yeah, yeah.
Look at me go. Yeah. Wait, I could sit down for 3 minutes to talk about a book.
I want to ask before we move on though, Emilio. I do want to ask you your thoughts on AI. Even though you just said it won't replace,
Yeah.
I think it's bad for writers because it eliminates, I guess, your creativity. Because some people may rely on it as a crutch too much. Because I use AI as a marketer. That's my day job. But your previous book, 101 Ways to Thank a Veteran, you can only write that book because of the experiences that you went through, right?
Right.
So let's say somebody decided to write the same book but didn't go through those same experiences but use AI. How would do you think authors should reveal that they used AI to create their books?
They're not going to. I don't think they would actually.
I love it. Hey, great question. And my God, listen, great question. We actually coach this every week. In fact, we have our weekly calls. I'm going to invite you and Ellie to come on this Thursday. We have it every Thursday, by the way, Phil. Okay, so I just in case I forget, every Thursday, 7 p.m. we have our weekly calls. And here's the deal. To answer your question in full, AI is a great thing for content creators, for podcasters, because if we use it the way it's supposed to be used, okay? So what we do is, for example, right now, Phil, you have a book. Right now, Ellie, you have a book. Here's how you should use ChatGPT, which is the hottest thing right now. You agree? ChatGPT.
Yes.
Right? So there's something called prompt engineering. So what we teach our community is go ahead and help you create outlines. It helps you flush out ideas, right? It helps you create titles. So that's when it's used ethically and morally. Now, if people, and I'm going to get to this, Phil, if I did my whole book and it was 100% ChatGPT, yes, I should disclose part of this book was written with AI support.
I agree with you there.
Yeah. Yeah, but I know, Phil, what you were asking was the fact that do you think this will make people rely too much on it? Like a GPS in our car, right? We use the GPS for everything. I don't know. I mean, I even use the GPS to come here again, and I'm here like every day.
She's there.
Am I right?
So yeah, I mean, so I'm going to expand on that. Do you think that the quality will be reduced because people may just try to, I guess, knock out a book really fast for profit?
No, it's awesome, brother. Listen, you're asking all the right questions. The FTC right now is regulating the AI. Well, they're attempting to regulate it. There's a lot of authors. Amazon is being inundated with, like, I think it's 3 times the book that they normally produce, right? Amazon and all these book retailers are getting more books. And the biggest challenge right now is plagiarism, right? And you can imagine if people are doing all of this. So AI, while it's a blessing for all of us, you use it, I use it, Ellie uses it to come in, I use it. But yeah, so what?
Wait, we're all good.
So, Emilio, do you have any success stories for people who've used your program?
Oh yeah, my God.
You're taking my
You know what?
questions,
Good
Phil.
question.
Wait, I think
Hey,
Phil's taking my questions. I think we'll get to Phil. Give me the paper.
There you go.
No,
Catch my Snapple
give
bottle.
me-
I love you guys. Hey,
Oh,
Phil and Ellie, you guys are beautiful. Look
I
at it.
don't
Can you
know,
see
man.
this?
Wait with Phil. I'm gonna beat you later.
Hey,
Wait,
can you guys
wait, I
see
forgot.
this? This flyer just
Yes,
came in yesterday, Phil and Ellie. It just came in. So can I read 2 or 3 testimonials?
yes, please do. Yes.
And this is
Wait,
gonna go to the fun Snapple exercise and planner. Ready?
wait. Okay.
So my first book does not officially release until 5 months from now, and I have already generated over $2,500 in pre-sale. Mind blowing. Jose Escobar, Silver Springs, Maryland. So we got his book, the same concept that you saw me do, right? You see how cool that is?
And that's what I was trying to do. I'm trying to do that concept.
Yes. So let's have that conversation.
Before I spoke with you, I didn't know you were doing it. I learned something extra.
Yeah, Phil, is that cool?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And Ellie, ready? Can I read another one? If
Yes,
that's okay?
please. Yes, I want you to. This is you. I want you to talk.
Thank you guys. You guys are great. So just by attending the AMA weekly calls, which I've invited both of you to, right? I have grown and connected my business. I have not only attended the weekly online calls, but the live events as well. Deborah Smart, lifetime member. We have lifetime member programs set up. And anyway, have you ever heard of Forbes Riley?
No.
Forbes Riley? Forbes Riley, I spend a week with her in Costa Rica at something called the Millionaire. It was the Millionaire Retreat, right? And she goes, this man, Emilio, is on a mission to help people write their story. He just loves on people. Forbes Riley, creator of the Spin Gym. She's out of Florida, by the way.
Cool.
Spin
Very
Gym
cool.
does sound familiar.
Yeah. Oh, you just
Yeah,
said that.
she's all over the place.
You just said that.
Well, thank you for asking that question. I love to help people.
I know. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh my God. What else do you want to tell us about the book and how to get involved step by step? Like right now, where are you marketing so people could find you? Like if they want information on this book and how to write a book and how do they get to you? Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, no, that makes sense. And how about this, Ellie, to answer that, right? Let's just say a Phil and everyone like you who wants to write a book. And Ellie, I think you're missing out. I think Ellie forgot that she's going to be in a book, Ellie.
Yeah, I know. I was going to bring that up. I'm in that book.
Yes.
The book with no writing.
The book with no writing. Yes. So ready for this? So I will. You know what? I'm gonna mail it to you, okay, Ellie? I'm gonna mail you the a mock book if that's okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. Yes, because I want to put it on my podcast. I got about 100 more to go.
Boom. So you're both are gonna love this. So what's gonna happen, Phil and Ellie? What you want to do? Anyone out there watching this? Stop. The dreading is worse than the doing. What you want to do is get involved in what's called an anthology. That's what this is, right? An anthology is a book where you share your story, part of your story, and guess what happens when you share your story? They put your picture in it, right? So what we do is this book here is called Behind Closed Doors. It's a bit of an emotional book. It's my wife's book. I survived domestic violence, and you can too. Voices of 11 survivors of domestic violence. This is second edition. We're in the third one now. Is this powerful?
Yes, this is something. Yes, I was I was talking about doing this years ago, and I thought it was just because that's when we say things, we think of things. But when I saw what you were doing, I'm like, oh my gosh, Emilio is doing exactly what I wanted to do, but only you mastered it. I'm learning from you because I just didn't know how to pull it together, and I really learned a lot.
And you can. And listen, I promise you, you both can do it. And so here's the deal. So if you or anyone out there who wants to do a book, get involved with an anthology or, as you notice, co-authorships, right? And this is the cool part. If you ready for this information?
Ready.
You ready?
Ready. Write it down, Phil.
All right. So Phil, you're doing great with your podcast. Ellie, you have a beautiful show now. But now, because Ellie is going to be in that book, which is going to be a bestseller. Right. Now, Ellie, once she comes out here, she's going to get a page in the book. Her picture is going to have her bio. right? And now this particular book here has 26 authors. Ellie's going to be in one, and you guys want to be in the book with Ellie. I'm going to tell you. I'm going to just go here now. This here, Ellie, there's 101 people. Did you know, Ellie, that now when this book comes out, Ellie and excuse me, Phil, guess what's going to happen? Now you're going to be tethered for life. When they sell the book, guess whose story goes along with it?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I'm attached. Right? I'm attached to that.
You're attached.
We're related.
Right. You're related.
We're related.
So imagine
by book.
you and I couldn't do it alone.
We're
Remember
related
the
by
energy
book.
stick.
Yeah. I need that energy stick.
I remember the energy stick.
That energy stick. I need that.
So this is the best way, Phil.
Love it.
Phil,
I
you
love
have a question?
Love it.
No. I love what's going on here.
Yeah. So
we
now this is wonderful, right? Because now what happens is this book right now gets circulated all over the world. And what's going to happen is you build your network really quickly. So imagine, so now you've got 100 people you've never met who now can't wait to share your story. And because it's not a full book, people are going to consume your story. The truth is that most book, if you had your Snapple book, Phil, today.
I have a Coke. I have a Coke book.
Hey, Phil, here's the truth. Here's the truth, brother. Most family and friends, number one, are going to want you to give them the book for free. That's the first one. They don't even want to pay for it. And most people who do pay for it, they're not even going to get through the first 4 or 5 chapters. Okay? So once you know these numbers, you have to know then how to leverage your story, because it's all about your story. So this is part of the coaching, and we kind of disavow people of expectations and say, listen, this is what you need to know so that you don't get disappointed and spend $25,000 on a book, right, that isn't going to move. It's only going to be on the average of about 125 to 250 sales. You got to know what you're getting into.
Absolutely. I'm going to just jump over this for a moment. Would you be able to share, Emilio, with us, or can you, any success stories in the book of any particular story?
Yeah, a success in terms of what you want to.
Yeah, like is there any story that, like, just to kind of give an example, or give us an example?
Yeah, do you want to shout out anybody?
Yeah, like anyone in the book that maybe you say, hey, let me just give an example of what's in the book, what the stories are, so right?
Remember, no. There's many books, and so in fact, if you guys can see this, all these a lot of them came in. Look at this. So we have. I'm going to give you 3 people. There's Madeline Morales, right? Mm-hmm. She's out of New Jersey. She was a nurse on 9/11.
Oh,
wow. Right?
Okay, cool. That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So with 9/11, when most of us were watching this, and it's a bit emotional, when most of us were watching this from TV, she was on the ground floor trying to get home to her family when 9/11 happened. And because she was a nurse, she had to stay there.
Love
right?
It. Yeah. But this is what we want. The stories.
Yes.
Love it. Yeah.
Yeah. And so she went on and wrote, at the same time, her daughter was dying from a rare form of leukemia.
Oh,
and so she wanted to get her story out there. She wanted to get her story out there. And so she heard us. Oh, you're going to love this. She heard my wife and I swear I'm getting goosebumps. Yeah, she heard us on the podcast, just like this.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool.
She heard us on the podcast. And she goes, she always wanted to tell her story. And she goes, I want to write my book with them. Like she just knew that my wife and I were passionate about helping people.
Wow. Beautiful. I love it. And that's what this is all about. Everyone has a story, and it's just getting it out there and making people feel good, get their story. And there's so many interesting stories. And that is, I don't want to say it's a beautiful story. It's a sad story, but it's a story that makes you think. And that's what this is all about, is thinking about everyone else's stories, not just our own. Wow. Amen. Yeah, totally. Could you, on a release date, on
sure,
the book, the 101, the one I'm in.
You're good.
I think it's August 19th, but I'm curious.
Oh no, that's so we've got a couple of things, guys, and so I know, Ellie, hopefully you can be here, and again, if you guys if you can make it, it's August 19th. We have 2 events. There's the August 19th here in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, where we're launching the 4th edition of this book. right? This is the 4th edition, right? Where people are sharing their stories, and this is going to be awesome. Now, the one Ellie, the one you and your audience, they want to come to because they're going to see you because you're going to be there. And Phil, we need to talk to get you in this book.
Can we break a new world record?
hey, we're going to. I love it. I love it. Well, Phil, guess what? So the point of this, right? This here, I bring you in as an author, and then we set up. We set you up as a speaker because the point, and you're gonna love this. It's not to make money off the book. The book is your business card to get you more engagement. Does that make sense?
I love it. Yeah, love it. Emilio, I have to thank you very much for being a guest today on our podcast, Storytime with Ellie. And yay! And as we say, everybody has a story. Yes. What's yours? Thank you, Emilio. And we will definitely see you again.
Thank you, Ellie. Thank you, Phil.
Thank you.
God bless.
God bless you. Yeah.